Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another fantastic episode of Tour of Music. My name is Avery.
My name is Caesar.
And today we are going to be doing our second part to the two-part episode on our short analysis / elaboration on the phenomenal David Bowie, his album Blackstar. Just to give you guys a little bit of information again, if you haven't heard last episode, Blackstar was David Bowie's last album before he passed. He released it 2 days before he passed away, and he had been working on it kind of in secrecy with his producer. Nobody knew he was dying except him and probably his wife. So it's actually like the album itself has a lot of contextual significance just for how impactful it is and where it comes from. We started off with, of course, the first two tracks, Blackstar, 'Tis a Pity She Was a Whore, and Lazarus. We ended on Lazarus, and then we talked a lot about art and what it means to us and kind of defining art. We touched up on intention, right? That was what we were talking about.
Yeah, so we were talking about what makes like more objectively good art versus something that is subjectively well done. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
The intent behind it and what it's meant to do.
Absolutely. So this episode, we're going to finish off with the final 4 tracks. This is a 7-track album, 41 minutes long. The next track that we're listening to is called Sue, or In a Season of Crime. We'll give you guys a little snippet. Backstory, I don't know. I feel like Caesar, like you said, this song, I don't know. This song I haven't really like dove into as deep as the other ones, because the other ones we were like super into, right? And then this one is kind of like, oh, we don't really know.
Yeah. This one, like I said, the other ones I've listened to on repeat, but a few of these songs here, I've listened to them, but I haven't really taken the time to elaborate on them. So let's do that now.
Yeah, we'll give you a listen for you guys, and then we'll talk about it afterwards, and we'll just share our thoughts on it. So this is Sue, or In a Season of Crime. First impressions, what do you think?
I like that riff that it starts with. I like that riff that kind of goes throughout the whole song.
Yeah.
Doom.
Yeah, it's like super aggressive, huh? It's like just...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because like this is the sound that David Bowie had kind of started capturing like way later, like in 90s, 2000s. So it makes sense. But it's interesting to me that you bring that up, because like I always feel like, even if like, because David Bowie's music is all over the place, right? Like every album is so different, you know? And I think like hearing this song, like even before you hear his lyrics, I feel like you would still kind of know that it's him, but I don't know how. Like, isn't that so weird? Like I don't know how you feel, but I feel like I know it's his song without hearing his lyrics, but I couldn't really explain to you how. Like I couldn't quantify it mathematically or scientifically or whatever.
That's funny that you say that, because I honestly feel like this shit sounds different. I was like, man, like I haven't really, I guess because I don't really dive into that 90s 2000s David Bowie as much as I do like his original stuff.
Yeah.
But so when I hear this, I'm like, man, this shit sounds different, and like you said, more aggressive. So something I'm personally not used to hearing from Bowie.
Yeah.
But then it kind of goes off to like I don't even know what instruments those are, but it sounds almost like Middle Eastern music, and it sounds like the roots of Blackstar. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
The little
agree.
piece. Hmm.
Yeah, because like even though every song is pretty different on this album, and you have some that he talks about himself, and then these ones, which I think on our last episode we had talked about the song "'Tis a Pity She Was a Whore," and a lot of annotations on that song from others had said that that is in reference to this song too. And so these songs are telling a story, and yet like they're still fit in the narrative, even though it can be completely different from like his own personal introspection. Like the sound design of this whole album is really put together. And yeah, I agree. It's like you still know it's from Blackstar, you know?
And he's talking about someone in his life that hurt him. I feel like I don't know why, because like there's also like some of the lyrics at the end of the outro. It says, "Sue, I found your note that you wrote last night. It can't be right. You went with him. Sue, I never dreamed I'm such a fool. Right from the start, you went with that clown." So like these are some like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like honestly he's probably been hurt, because I don't know if he's been carrying this his whole life.
Yeah.
Was, like, when he decided to release it, you know?
Yeah, because
That's kind of what I'm thinking at this point.
Yeah, because it's interesting because I'm reading here that this is a modern retelling of a 17th century John Ford play, which is that first song that we talked about, "'Tis a Pity She Was a Whore." And I think like it makes you wonder like what connection does he have to this play? And I've never seen the play, and I don't think you have either. But if he's retelling it, obviously it has some pretty big significance in his life, and I wonder if it has to do with that. I mean, maybe at the end of his life, even though he's married and stuff, maybe he just likes the story. I don't know. But I mean, obviously there's some significance, because he wouldn't just put it on an album. I mean, David Bowie's full of intent, so you know, like I wonder. Yeah, you might be right. The outro, even though it's from a play, like it obviously holds significance, like the play itself.
Yeah, that's exactly. So whether or not it's his exact story, it does hold some significance to him. So I'm assuming he would. I mean, I don't know. Again, this is just my interpretation, but I'm assuming he was holding on to something throughout his life in regards to that, and that's why there was such significant meaning to him.
So I've thought about this a lot, right? And I feel like I feel like we talked about this on our first episode, but I'm gonna bring it up again because it's so important. I feel like a lot of people are starting to lose what an album is, if that makes sense. Like a lot of songs and a lot of albums nowadays that come out, I feel don't have a sense of cohesion, you know, like okay, they'll all release songs and it's all obviously made in the same time frame, but albums at least. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say they don't have anything to do with each other. It's
exactly.
Just kind of a bunch of singles.
Yeah, exactly. See, you get it. And it's like I feel like people just kind of maybe losing. I mean, I think this has to do with, we talked about, and I think episode 2, like hyper commercialization of music industry, and everybody wants to make a single and get noticed. I think people make albums as compilations, because if you go like, anyone who's listening, if you go on like Apple Music or Spotify and you go through like an artist, sometimes there's a section for all their albums, and then if you keep scrolling, you go down more, like even on David Bowie's right now, you'll see there's a section called singles and EPs, and I think even like, and then there's another section called compilations. And I feel like, I don't know, I kind of this is just me, I take offense when people like call things albums and they're not, and it's very clear that they're not. It would be like I'll put it this way. Yeah, and I'll put it this way. It feels like when they say that, to me, I take it as, imagine you go to like a bookstore, and you pick a book or whatever, and let's say the book was titled whatever, and then you're reading through the book, and each book has its own chapter, right, with its own story. And let's say as you're going through the chapters, they're like each chapter is a different story, or like it doesn't have any like cohesion or like correlation with each other,
which is cool, but that's a book of short stories.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a compilation book. It's not a novel. And I feel like albums should be classified as novels, because an album, albums started out as this way to create a sense of cohesion. At least how I feel like when albums were coming out, there was always a story. Like you go to Frank Sinatra, there's his albums that he has specifically are Christmas songs, and that is the story of Christmas, or it's a certain album about broken hearts. And there's this thing that I feel like with
Like a
albums,
theme.
yeah, there's a theme. Exactly. There's a theme. And I feel like with, I don't know, with albums, like if I'm listening to an album, I don't shuffle it through. Like if I'm gonna listen to an album, I'm gonna listen to it from track 1 to 0, and there should be a sense of beginning and end, you know. And I just think a lot of people are missing out, and I would like to see more people stop calling them albums and start just releasing either EPs, which are an extended play, or just start calling them compilations, because the Smiths did that. The Smiths have that on their, it's funny because I'm like, oh, what album is this? And you go to the Smiths Spotify, and one of their famous ones is Hatful of Hollow and Louder Than Bombs, the two, you know, the orange and blue one, and those aren't listed under albums. They only have a couple, like 6 albums here. Those ones, which are great compilations, are compilations. They're not albums, probably because probably because they don't have, like, obviously each song is so good, and maybe in the compilation they make sense, but in a sense of like telling a single story or a certain theme, there isn't a theme. It's just great songs and it's the compilation. And I feel like, I don't know, I would like to see that. But then again, it's just my definition of an album. But that's how I feel when I think of albums. I'm like, I'm not going to listen to an album and then have 4 different themes going on. Like when I listen to Hunky Dory, there's a certain narrative that I want given to me, you know?
No, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense, because I definitely see that happening with a lot more, like, back then for sure, in older albums. Like I could definitely say, like, within like Abbey Road and like
exactly, the Beatles are perfect, right?
Like, yeah, they just kind of like, first of all, the songs flow together in themselves, and maybe not every song was about the same exact thing, but for the most part, they all had a certain theme, like you were saying.
Yeah,
that all correlate together.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's just so hard. I mean, that like for like the mass production of fucking, you know, music and media that they do now, like, of course there are some artists who still do that, but most of these people, you know, they come out with one good song, so then they get a record label now because they were blown up on social media. Like, they're not like really great musicians to tell an entire story through an entire album, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree 100%. You've hit it right on the head. And the Beatles, I feel like, are a perfect group to look at on how albums should be made. I mean,
and don't get me wrong, not to shit on today's artists, but
no. There's a lot of great
artists. There's a lot of great artists, obviously, but I just feel like there's so many also other artists that, you know, they have one good song, like I said, just blow up to the social media or whatever. Now they have record labels and produce albums, quotation mark.
And their albums are just carbon copies of the other song with a little bit different lyrics and a little beat switch here and there. And it's like, man, dude, that's not why you got famous. Like, you got famous because maybe you brought something different to the table, you know, like, keep it up. That like, I think that's interesting that you mentioned that, because I feel like there's a twisted perception that, like, your song's a hit, I got to keep making songs just like that. And sometimes, honestly, it does work, and it sucks because it ruins the whole point of art, is to explore thoughts and explore things. I feel like art is a way of, it's a language, it's a way to understand human beings in ways that language cannot, or regular everyday behaviors cannot.
It's just the way to express ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I feel like, you know, when it comes to making a hit single, like, that means that, you know, when it's a good single, it's like, oh, because you brought something new and you explored something that nobody's explored yet. So I think people get it twisted in the sense that they're like, oh, I have to make it sound just like this because that's what people liked. People didn't like the sound. Like, if you go deeper, it's not that it was sounded good, it's that it's exploring something new, you know. And that's what made people like it. Yeah, exactly. Like, what was it? It was his. Do you know a good single from the Beatles, like one that exploded them? Did they release a single or did they do albums? I don't even remember back then.
No, I'm pretty sure they did release singles. I want to say that first single was I Want to Hold Your Hand.
That makes sense.
Let me see. Give me one second.
That would definitely make sense. I think you had mentioned that in our rock and roll episode, part 1.
Oh, Love Me Do. Love Me Do was their very first single, which is a great song.
Yeah, it is genuinely a great song. It is poppy, but they still brought something new in the way that instruments and sharing 4 different voices, you know, it's just, they did bring something new, and then they just kept it up. And that was why they were so strong.
They still had that song and part of it, you know, entire album with 14 songs that some of them were covers, I know, but like they still, and it was still a good pretty good theme going on there too. You know, they were very love poppy songs at the time.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that you brought up that there was some covers. That was a big thing that nowadays, I mean, nobody releases covers anymore because one, commercialization and copyright and bullshit, and two, I don't know, I think it's just a dying thing. But the fact that the Beatles could bring covers, and I'm sure in one way or another they reinvented certain things and innovated, that's what we're talking about. Like, even though you're doing an exact replica of a song, you're still adding your own twist, and now you've made it, and that's the beauty of art, is like you've made it this new thing. Like, that's hard to do, you know, in and of itself. Yeah, that's like so hard. And even more so, like, I feel like nowadays it's frowned upon to take something someone else made and build on it. I feel like there's this hostility with art in the sense that, like, oh, look at this person stole my art, you know, like obviously there's genuine stealing and it's awful to do that, but I feel like the beauty of art is that nobody was the founder. The world is the founder, and ever since then we've just been taking something and tweaking it here and there and just building like this gigantic pyramid.
I feel like there's nothing that's original anymore at this
Impossible
point. Everything, and like that, like in all of humanity, no way, man.
Yeah, especially with the amount of people that are here now and the amount of access to instruments and sound, it's impossible to make something new.
And it may be original to you, but it just doesn't mean that it hasn't been done. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
But that's the beauty of it, is that you can make something and it can be yours, even though somebody else may have done it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not going to be identical, but yeah, most things, that's it. You know, they're already been done, but as humans, we just take them and express ourselves through them, and then that becomes yours.
Exactly. And we shouldn't be all mean about it. I mean, I take it as a sign of respect when someone, you know, thinks that they like it so much that they're willing to take it and make it their own. I honor it. I feel like people are just so, I don't know, maybe it's just a symptom of the society we live in, but like people are so keen on not sharing. It's rude. I think it's rude. I mean, you should share, you know, share.
I love covers, dude. Like, I feel like like, especially like in rock and stuff, there's a lot of bands who cover others' bands songs.
Yeah. Even the song that we're talking about is a cover of an old play, you know? That's awesome. Like, to make a play and turn it into a song on an album of your death in 2016, like 400 years later, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
That's nuts, right?
It's freaking dope.
I mean, I want to hear the part with those lyrics, actually. If we want to listen to the rest of that song real quick.
The which part?
I just want to see how the outro.
Oh, okay, we'll go to that.
So I want to hear how it goes along with the music.
That's an awesome outro.
That was weird, though. I felt like those lyrics, like, well, not the lyrics, but the actual, his like melody and how he was singing, just was so kind of opposite of the music that it was a trip.
Yeah, I was getting the same. I was getting a lot of anxiety in a good way. Like, I'm so glad you mentioned to play it, dude, because listening to the beginning and hearing at the end how much it's built up, like, it even brings in some like synthesizers and some hard dubstep wobbles, dude. Like, why? Who does that on a song like this, dude?
That was That was a trip.
Yeah, dude, like you're right. Like the lyrics, like this play doesn't match the song at all, and yet it does because the emotions are so probably grotesque in the play, and the music is so awfully amazing, like so off-putting.
Yeah, he's like singing.
It's like crying,
singing. Yeah. It's like a weird trippy singing. Where he's like classical music almost, but then it's like some like modern hip hop rock.
Yeah, almost like hard techno, dude. Mixed with
exactly like
grunge alternative. Like, what the hell was that? That's awesome, dude. Actually, I have a deeper appreciation for this song now that we listened to it and talked about it, dude. What an amazing track. So that was Sue or In a Season of Crime. I think I'm gonna continue diving into that on my own time, deeper and deeper. But we have another song, the next track after this, and that one is called Girl Loves Me. This track, I've listened to it over and over. Caesar, you haven't listened to it that much, right? This one song in particular?
Yeah, no, not this one either. So
okay, cool. So
I've heard it before again, but I mean, I haven't really dissected it.
Really took it in. So we're gonna show you guys a snippet of it. I personally am a huge fan of this song. After I listened to it over the weekend, getting ready for part 2, I fell in love with it immediately after I started diving into it. So I'm actually interested to hear how Caesar here's this one. Here, we'll go ahead and play that for everybody here and Caesar as well. All right, here we go. This is Girl Loves Me by David Bowie.
Gina so sound so titty up this mouth check say party up moods 90 fella set round on Tuesday real bad dizzy snatch making all the homies mad Thursday Popo blind to the poly in the hole by Friday when the fuck did the Monday go? I'm cold to this pig and puck show. I'm sitting in the chestnut tree. Who the fuck's gonna mess with me?
Oh man, no, I do remember listening to this song and being like, damn, what the fuck? Where the fuck did the Monday go? I remember that lyric.
Does it make you feel absolutely uncomfortable and weird and yet understood, or what?
I like the funk, dude, because I don't know why it feels like funky to me. I don't know if it's like the bass in there or something.
It might be the drums. I feel like the drums have a lot of funk derivatives. But how weird is this song, dude?
His form of singing, he's not even singing, he's just like talking with the, I don't know.
He voice cracks at the end of every stanza, which is actually fits really well in the song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know,
he's not like, it is not at all like the David Bowie singing. He's just talking with rhythm. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's such a cool weird lyric, song. Dude. Yeah, and I'm reading the annotations with you here, and I guess these lyrics, half of it's an actual word, half nadsat, and then it's
half nadsat. You said what?
Yeah, it's a language from A Clockwork Orange, I guess. The movie. It's like an actual language.
Dude, I couldn't even finish watching that movie. That movie was fucking crazy, bro.
I've never seen it. Is it really like grotesque or what?
It's pretty grotesque, yeah. I mean, it's pretty fucked up. It's a fucked up movie. I was like with my girlfriend, like, let's watch it. And yeah, that shit was like,
oh dang.
Let's turn this off. This shit's fucked up.
Shit, dude. I was like thinking about watching it eventually, but I'm gonna have to like really prepare myself.
I feel like I should finish watching it, you know, just because it's a very famous movie.
Yeah, same.
But, oh man, that shit was like, I don't know, there's only so much I could take of watching some fucked up shit. You know what I mean?
Damn, I feel that, bro. I feel that. That's crazy.
That's the trip. So he used the language.
So yeah, he used
this song.
Mm-hmm. He used some of the language from that song, and then I guess this language called Polari, which was a slang language from gay clubs in the 70s. So it's interesting that he's you know, I don't know, just like, how do you even make that into a song? Anyways, that's freaking crazy. And
that's interesting. So what was from the gay club in the 70s, you said?
It's a language called Polari. So I guess this is his lyrics, like China so sound, so titi up this malchik, like all that stuff, party at Mooj, Nanti Velo set round on Tuesday. Like the language is a blend of Clockwork Orange and Polari, which is like so weird.
I mean, that was definitely his thing back in the 70s, you know? Like, when he was going through that whole Ziggy Stardust, he was very ambidextrous.
Exploring sexuality.
Yeah, exactly. So
I like that he's alluding to all his life in this album, and this song really shows it.
Shit.
And how haunting is that one lyric, where the fuck did Monday go? Like, how haunting is that, dude? Like, when I heard it last week, I was like kind of like going through a tough time with school and stuff, and I was like, dude, like, where's the time going? And hearing him say it like that, you know, it's just like, oh my god, it's so weird.
At first I thought he was saying like, where the fuck did my money go?
Oh, but no.
Saying Monday.
Yeah, it's so weird.
No, that's just, I bet that's just him alluding to the fact that, like, fuck, time went by so goddamn fast.
Yeah, and that's makes it even more interesting, you know, the fact that this is his closing album, like basically his funeral album, and he's saying that stuff. It really shows he's like, damn, dude, the time really went by. And he lived a pretty, I'm sure, extremely busy life. I mean, being Bowie, and to still be like, man, where's the time gone? I mean, to do all that and still lose track of time, I mean, that means, you know, time is a hard thing to conceive sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm just reading here. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I'm still tripping out that he fucking was using that crazy language.
Oh, I know, yeah. It sounds like gibberish, dude. Like, but it sounds real.
I wonder what. But hold on, we didn't listen to that verse yet, though, huh? Where he starts speaking in that language.
No, we did. It was the very first part here. We'll listen to it again so you can hear it. We'll listen to the first part right now.
Oh, I see it here. So...
Yeah.
Party up, moods, 90 velo set round on Tuesday.
See, but like, if you didn't know that it was a different language, you'd be like, oh, he's saying something in English. I just don't remember what it is.
Dude, exactly. That's exactly what I thought. I thought he was saying shit, but I just wasn't really listening to the lyrics, or like, you know. But no, I just don't understand it.
Yeah, it's so weird. I remember listening to this for the first time and being like, oh man, like, these words, I want to learn how to use these words in my everyday language, because they sound so awesome. I wish I knew what they meant. And then I look at the annotations and I'm like, oh, this is half slang from London, and then the other half is made up language in Clockwork Orange. I was like, okay, sure.
That's fucking crazy. I wonder why amazing. He's referencing that movie though, bro. Now I have to finish watching that movie.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like,
yeah,
it's really interesting. And David Bowie is so good at like creating allusions to like things that have impacted him. He reminds me of MF Doom, because MF Doom does that a lot with his sampling and the things he says, and you have to like really be like, okay, what is he talking about? Like, it doesn't make sense until you look into it. You're like, what a genius. And David Bowie gives me the same energy in the way that he can allude to things like that. And I'm reading here on the bridge when he says, I'm sitting in the chestnut tree, who the fuck's gonna mess with me? Somebody pointed out that this is actually a reference to the movie, I believe, 1984 by George Orwell, where the main character Winston Smith sits at the end of the book, the Chestnut Tree Cafe. And it's funny because that was one of David Bowie's top 100 books. So of course he would reference it at the end of his life. And he probably feels the same way that Winston did at the end of that book, which is amazing. Like, the level of depth and the amount of layers you have to peel away from songs that he makes are amazing. Like, it makes replay value so good. And I think that's why his albums really stick out, because there's so much that you can pull away. Like, you can listen to this over and over and dissect it, and then it gives you a totally different feeling tomorrow or next year or yesterday.
And it just makes me want to look into all this stuff that he's referencing now. Like, now I want to know what the hell was going on in 1984. I want to know why David Bowie loved it so much.
Yeah, exactly. And it to me, that's what art is all about. You know, it's about it's about planting the seed of something inside someone's head. Like the seed could be anything, but you're making somebody think actively. Does that make sense? Like, not just listening. I mean, sometimes we do need that regular
music. Trying to connect things. You know what I mean? But like, I feel like it's all about that brain work to try and connect this to, you know.
Yeah, making somebody think. Giving somebody a new perspective. It's so beautiful.
And whether you like the song specifically, like the actual music, but trying to make those connections on your head, and when it makes you think, that's when you start liking it for a whole other reason.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why, like, even certain songs that I may not like, if that person made me think and made me feel, like, there's songs that I just don't pay attention to because they don't make me feel anything. Like, my mood doesn't change. I'm not impacted deeper. But if there's a song I don't like, but it's making me feel a certain way very intensely, then I give my respect and admiration to that person, even if I don't respect them as an artist, like, or I don't follow their music or whatever they're doing. Like, if an artist can make me feel something, that's what art's all about. You don't have to like it, and we talked about this last time because it's so true. You don't have to like something, but if they make you feel something, then they've done their job, and you should give them the respect that they rightfully deserve.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like this podcast is making me, like, I don't know, like, reinforcing that in my head so much more now, you know. So every time, like, that we've been having since we've been having these discussions, now when I'm listening to music, I'm trying to make more connections. I'm trying to listen deeper into the lyrics and figure out what's really going on behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, same here. I mean,
and it's crazy. It just opens up to your mind to a whole nother aspect of music listening versus just listening to a catchy tune.
Yeah, like active listening. I feel like a lot of people miss out on, like, it when people say, like, oh, life is boring.
I used to. I know, like, I didn't. I definitely didn't used to listen to music. I just recently kind of started to, and then, like I said, since we've been having these conversations a lot more recently.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it was probably, like I said, like around middle of high school, like junior year, senior year, I was like starting to get really passionate about music. Like, not just like oh, this song's good, but then it's more like, all right, well, let me peel away what they were really doing. Like, I didn't understand, and that's what's the beauty of music is, like, it's virtually infinite. Like, there will be so much in a world of finite. Music can exist with time and be the only two things in the world that are really infinite, which is awesome, and that goes for all art. There's like so much, and you can just rediscover yourself or hold moments in time with music, and that's why that's what this podcast has done for me too, is like it's allowed me to like really explore like why things matter to me musically, and like even diving into artists that I don't like, oh, I don't like this genre. Okay, well, let me go listen to it and see why I don't like it, and either I end up liking it or I really don't like it because I've listened to it and wasted 45 minutes on an album, but I've gained a better understanding. And I think that's what's important and kind of what we want everybody listening to know too. Like, you know, I feel like a lot of people listening to the last episode and this one might be like, oh man, this music kind of is not good, because Blackstar is a very intense album and it takes a lot of mental capacity to comprehend it. But I feel like if people are really listening, they'll be like, oh man, but hopefully, at least we hope that like you guys, you know, kind of open your mind a little bit and kind of come at it less judgmental and more like, why don't I like it, you know?
Yeah,
such a good question to ask. Why don't I like something? Man, I mean, every song he has given us such good conversation, dude.
Right.
I mean, this album is so important. So that was Girl Loves Me. What is the next track on this album? Let me see. We are going to, I believe, Dollar Days. Okay, so this one, let me pull up the lyrics here for everybody so we can read along after we listen. I believe this one talks about his stance on money as he's coming to terms with the end of his life and what money means to him. Yeah, so let's give it a listen, and then we'll talk about the lyrics and dissect it a little bit more.
Because that's a good lead up to his next song too.
Exactly. I know. Yeah, he pieces it together so well. We'll do Dollar Days, and then we'll talk about the closing song, I Can't Give Everything Away, which also deals with money and fame and all the jargon that comes with being David Bowie.
Hush, girl, suffer me. I've got no enemies. I'm walking down. It's nothing to me. It's nothing to see. If I'll never see the English evergreens I'm running to, it's nothing to me. It's nothing to see. I'm dying to push their backs against the grain and fool them all again and again. I'm trying to. We bitches tear our magazines, those oligarchs with foaming mouths call now and then. Don't believe for just 1 second I'm forgetting you. I'm trying to. I'm dying to. Darling.
Okay, I have to pause it because I'll listen to the whole fucking song, dude. This one gave me chills.
That is a great song, man. I do not know why I haven't taken more time to
Me
listen
neither.
to it.
I'm feeling the same thing, dude. I'm like, how could this one go over my head? Looking at the lyrics.
This is an amazing song, and then just his melody and his singing. Like, this is the Bowie. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. Classic Bowie.
Dude, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, the way he's doing his verses and chorus are the exact same. Like, this is classic Bowie. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but if you listen to his older stuff, the way he carries the lyrics into chorus and verse, and I don't know, the way they're structured.
And then he goes fast in them and then elongates some of them.
Yeah, it's just classic Bowie. It's classic Bowie in a new sound. I mean, oh my God. His saxophones are always like, that first opening 45-second intro is amazing.
Oh my God, right?
That was amazing. I was like sitting here and I like zoned out. I forgot I was in a podcast with you. I was like staring at the album cover just like, oh my God.
Yeah, no. I'm glad I was muted because I was definitely singing along. Because I have the lyrics right here pulled up and I was like, man, this is a bad jam.
Yeah, dude. I think this one might be my favorite off the track now. What a trip. I think the chorus part, as I was listening and reading his analysis, this fan's analysis, saying, what does he say? We bitches tear our magazines, those oligarchs with foaming mouths come now and then. Can't believe for just 1 second I'm forgetting you. I'm dying to. So this one is important because I think a lot of people, and I think I agree, this song is kind of like a letter to his fans, you know? Like, he's telling people like what's going on with him, and like, so that way, this is almost like his interview. Because I was reading, where does it say? This annotation here, it says, Bowie compares oligarchical oppression to that of the music industry, who hounded him for interviews. For 10 years, he held them off, even when he had new music to share. Even after receiving his diagnosis, he did not respond to them. And if this silence confused us, quote, his fans, unquote, he goes on to address us directly in the following line, saying, can't believe for just 1 second I'm forgetting you. I'm dying to. Like, he's dying to tell you something. He's literally dying, but he's like dying to tell us what's going on. But he can't go in an interview because the media, you know, like we talk about all the time, just screws everything up and it displays these narratives and agendas.
Yeah. And then for him, I don't know. I feel like, why? Like, you're just trying to make money off of me fucking suffering and dying. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck you, you know? Like,
no, it's so true.
Do my thing, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, he's like, dude, like, that's what he's saying. Like, I pushed their backs against the grain and fooled them all again and again. Like in his whole musical career, all he did was play with the media and new personas and interviews and just, you know, showing them that they're just, what they're saying is dumb. And so, you know, he's like, I'm dying to keep them on their toes and keep fooling them and reinventing myself and not letting them understand me because they just keep trying to paint me as someone I'm not, you know? Like, oh man, dude, this song, yeah, I agree, dude. This song really, really hit me hard right now.
I think we gotta keep listening to it.
Yeah, let's see, we'll do the second verse then, because then it goes back to the beginning. So we'll do the second verse here.
Days survival sex on a stretching tails to necks. I'm falling down. It's nothing to me. it's nothing to see. If I never see the English evergreens I'm running to, it's nothing to me, it's nothing to see.
Dude, that saxophone solo. What the hell, dude?
It's a great saxophone.
That
I
was
love saxophone,
awesome.
man.
Oh yeah, it's such a great instrument, man.
It adds such class.
Yeah, it's class, it's energy, it's like so human sounding. I don't know, something about it is like so significant. Like it's like piano, guitar, and saxophone, like the three top instruments. Like they will always be there. Does that make sense? Like it's one of the everybody loves a saxophone. I've never heard anybody say I hate a saxophone. It doesn't exist.
Right?
Everybody loves a saxophone. It's like everybody loves a piano.
Saxophone,
everybody loves a guitar.
trumpets.
Yeah, it's awesome. But man, what another killer verse. Like dollar days,
and
survival sex. Like he's talking about his past life, you know?
Right, like the things pretty much he's done in his lifetime.
Yeah, what did he say? I'm falling down. And somebody said like this relates to Bowie himself, despite his valiant efforts. At the end of the day, he's only human, which is so true. And humans eventually do expire. And then they were connecting it to the next song that we'll be listening to after this, which is I Can't Give Everything Away, which is, again, another great way to end the album and also connected to this song and keeps the theme of Blackstar. But, yeah, I mean, this song is, I think I'm going to add it to, like, every sad playlist I have. Dude, it is good, man. I'm going to listen to this again and again. I'm going to listen to this at work tomorrow, dude. I don't care. I'm going to make everybody at work cry with me, dude. What a song, dude.
Yeah, no, this is definitely not a song to play on a road trip or anything, but it's a great fucking song nonetheless.
Yeah. I'm like trying to get my breath, trying to lead into the final song. I'm like sad that we're coming to the end.
Like, looking at some more lyrics, and these lyrics are just so sad, and he's just talking about pretty much his life. And like in the second chorus, there's a little part where he says it's all gone wrong, but on the bitter never ends. Oh, the bitter nerve ends. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Never end. I'm falling down when he goes back to that part. And yeah, it says like that annotation there is just talking about how he has some regrets and reflecting on his life.
Absolutely.
And his mortality with the nostalgic feel. I don't know. That's a trip. Some fucking deep lyrics.
Yeah, he's so vivid, dude. He's so vivid. Like that one, the oligarchs with foaming mouths. Like just shows like that they're so hungry for him, you know?
Yeah, no, it's a trip, man. He was a great artist.
Definitely. Okay, we've made it to the end of Blackstar, and I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of sentimental that we're coming to the end of the album. I don't know. Something about it being his last one. I feel sad.
Dude, it feels like I'm finishing, TV series. You know, when you're on like that very last episode of the TV series when it's just like canceled. You're like, damn.
Yeah,
it's sad. I don't want to listen to the last.
Yeah, I feel really sad right now. Just thinking about, I don't know. Just thinking about Bowie and just thinking about the album and how important it is. And music.
No,
and
it definitely.
Everything we've touched on. I'm kind of sad. Like music's not like this.
I feel it. I feel it, dude. I feel it. This album definitely has me a little down, and you know what? He did his job.
But in a beautiful way. It's down in the sense that, of course, no one likes to die, but he's done it in the beautiful way.
Look at that. 5 years after his death, we're still here listening to it, talking about it, feeling from it. Definitely. You'll live forever, dude. That's how you live forever.
Yeah. And real quick, before we listen to this, yesterday I was actually diving through his music, and I saw that he released an EP that actually is themed from Blackstar. I think it was music that he just didn't want to release on the album because it didn't fit in the theme because it has Lazarus in it. But there's 3 songs on there that are not from the album, but they're obviously the album cover has the Blackstar, and it's released 2017, so it was released a year after his album came out.
So he just had some other recordings
Yeah.
that he didn't want.
And they fit perfectly. Like
But-
they could belong in the album.
Do you ever feel though like should you listen to an artist's music that he did not want released? You know what I mean? Like he didn't release it for a reason.
Yeah, I wonder if, maybe he talked to his producer, because I feel like Bowie would give some kind of plan. Maybe or I don't know, maybe, I don't think his producer even knew. I think it may have been released, like he meant to release it as an EP maybe, because the music, it's like fully produced. It's not like it's a demo or anything or like a first cut. Like it sounds like it belongs in the album, and it very well could be swapped out with another song or put as like a deluxe edition. But yeah, I think there is that weird thing. I feel like a lot of artists like that. Well, we have a lot of artists that die young now. There's definitely a lot of weird things that go on. Like obviously some of it's with good intent. Like Lil Peep, his management, which is his mom, she has done a great job at releasing his music respectfully and new.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing. Yeah, like if you died during the process of like making all these projects and stuff, but like sometimes it's like stuff from like way before, albums from way before, because I know there was like other like unreleased items from David Bowie that were after his death released.
Yeah.
And like sometimes people will talk shit and it's like, well, he didn't want that released, he
That's
didn't
true.
release that years ago for a reason. Maybe he didn't think it was that good, or
I agree.
You know?
I think you're right. I feel like some people do take advantage of that, and I feel like it's out of respect. Like if he left a plan, and by all means release it, but as an artist, it's kind of like if someone were to take pieces of your diary and release it to the public, because it's
yeah,
I
like
mean-
because I mean, like I have private shit, like I don't know.
yeah, like if I died, I would want only my best friend to know or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or nobody
And
to
just
know.
have all your stuff put out. Yeah, and then just have like all your stuff put out on blast when that was kind of your private work and stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's definitely a dilemma. I feel like I know a couple artists where they just kind of exploit them after their death, because people, people are extra sentimental when artists die. I don't know. Like I feel like the biggest example would be XXXTentacion. Like I never listened to him or really care for his music, but I know like they just completely. It's sad. They just shit on his name. They exploited all his music and just started releasing a bunch of stuff and like overcharging prices. I feel like I've seen it everywhere. They just totally just take advantage of his
They
death.
made a bunch of money. Yep.
That's really sad.
I mean, I'm hoping his family got some of it. Shit, I would hope.
Yeah, me too, dude. But then there's also good ones like Bowie and Lil Peep and all that stuff. But yeah, it's a good point you bring up. It's a tough dilemma, because out of respect, at the end of the day, they're still human. Like just because they're gone, it's not really fair
do we
to
have
us.
rights to go through their, would you go through their house and scrummage through all their shit? Like maybe they're close relatives, yeah, but would you want the whole world?
Yeah, it's really rude. I agree, because it's like I don't know. It's just kind of inconsiderate. It dehumanizes the person who died, because now it's like, oh, you're a product, like you're a factory, you make stuff for our expense.
Exactly, you're
right?
a product.
You're a product. It's like, no, these are feelings, dude.
These are my emotional.
These are his
artwork.
thoughts. We should be thankful that he's giving us any of it, because it's an honor for someone to be so open and transparent with what they're feeling in their life. I feel like people don't see it that way. They just see it as product, or just like buying a new iPhone or something. Like, no, these are someone's thoughts and feelings. They had to put themselves in these shoes, and a lot of these songs are sad. I mean, he had to sit with those feelings and release them for people. Like, be thankful that he's even doing that. I mean, he was dying, dude. I mean, have some respect. Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
It's definitely a tough position to be in. Definitely.
But again, like I said, we don't know what he left behind. Maybe he was like, yeah, whatever, release it all.
Yeah,
that could
maybe
have definitely been the case.
Yeah, maybe Iman, his wife, knew, and she was like, okay, here's what he said you could do. That would make sense. I feel like if there's anyone that knew, it was his wife, because they were so good together. They were amazing together. Man, we're just trying to postpone the ending, huh? We don't want to stop.
I think we should give it a lesson.
And some closing thoughts. Okay, so this is I Can't Give Everything Away by David Bowie, his final closing track to the beautiful album Blackstar.
suns, with blackouts, hearts, with flowered news, with skull designs upon my shoes. I can't give everything. I can't give everything. Seeing more and feeling less, saying no but meaning yes. This is all I ever meant. That's the message that I sent.
I have to stop it, dude, because I'll start bursting into fucking tears, man. He's like literally talking to us right now. Like, this is all I ever meant. That's the message that I sent. It's
and those very opening lyrics talking about like, I know something's very wrong. The pope returns the prodigal son. It's kind of referencing the Bible a little bit there, and I don't know. It's a trippy song, man.
Yeah, it's definitely, and just feeling like he feels even at the end of his life, he's still like, oh my god, I still can't give everything, like, because he'll be dead one day, and he did. People didn't realize what the song was about. They just thought, oh yeah, he's thinking about it. And then he died 2 days later, and everybody was like, yo, this song, he was really talking about himself. Crazy, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's man, this song itself is just the blackout hearts,
and
the flower
the black,
news.
yeah, dude, I was just looking at that exact lyric. The blackout hearts, the flower news, talking about just how people are gonna feel pretty much, and the flower news of his death.
Yeah, you know, people always do memorials with flowers and all that stuff. Yeah, dude. Oh my god, that's crazy. And you can see this annotation here. They're talking about at the beginning when you hear that harmonica. It's actually taken from his album Below, 1977. I'm gonna click that and listen to it real quick so we can see what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it, definitely. Absolutely.
It sounds like the beginning of like MASH or something.
Yeah.
Like the theme song to like an old Western TV show.
Yeah. It's exactly the same as the intro to this song. And somebody mentioned that because that song in itself is about moving on and starting new, because the song's called A New Career in a New Town. Harmonica thing taken from A New Career. Yeah. Now it's like a new career in a new town, a new career in the afterlife, you know? Maybe he's making music for all the spirits that have long been gone, and he's bringing everybody out in the afterlife if there is one, you know? That's so awesome. What a good closing track. Like, I don't know, and it's so simple too, like the lyrics. But I feel like this song's kind of classic Bowie too, you know, in the way that the chorus is sang, very melodic and dreamy.
Yeah, no, definitely. I just can't help but feel that like he was sad and scared. You know what I mean? Like that's what I get from this album, and like I think that's what makes it feel so sad. Cause like from the like picture he's painting, like I don't know, it doesn't seem like he was in the best place as he was dying. You know?
I mean, he was doing what he loved, but it's tragic to know that after this is it. You know, I mean, that's hard for anyone. Imagine like something that you love and then being told, oh, you can't do it anymore, and knowing like for a fact that you literally cannot do it anymore. All he ever did was make art, and then to come to terms with that he won't be able to do it anymore. It's not like, oh, like there's a chance he won't be able to do it anymore. No, it's guaranteed that you're not going to be alive after this, and this is it. Like, this is it. And it's tragic no matter who you ask. Someone could love death, and I mean, death is just objectively a beautiful and tragic thing, you know, because it's like that's the end. You're here and then you're not. So I hear it too. I hear the sadness in his lyrics and his melodies and the way he carries his voice. And to call the album Blackstar in itself is kind of sad, because black stars, at least in space terms, they can't be seen. They do a lot of stuff. Like Blackstar, I think black hole, same thing. They do a lot. Like are the center of all galaxies, but we never see them. We never get to go inside and see what is at the singularity of a black hole. You know, we never get to know. And if we do try to go, killing yourself, you don't come back. you can't enter a black star and leave a black star. If you go in, that's it. And I think what a great way to call the album what it is, you know, because he's giving a lot. He has a lot of gravity.
But and like also the reference to a black star, like versus, I don't know, like versus exploding like some sort of supernova. Like, I just feel like he has like a bunch of guilt and like feels wrong for some reason. Like, because like even like the part where he's saying like the pulse returns the prodigal son. Like the prodigal son's supposed to be someone who's like was like a sinful person and stuff, and I like that's he's referring to himself as the prodigal son, right? Someone who was sinful, especially before like he married, you know, his second wife that you were talking about.
Yeah.
That he was very close with. So I don't know. I wonder what he felt so guilty about. Like, yeah, he lived obviously a crazy life and probably had like crazy sex and drugs and shit, but I don't know, like that is that something to really feel that guilty of at the end of your life when you know, kind of changed and understood your wrongs, you know? Should you still feel guilty at that point?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a really, really, really great question. I don't know if you should. I mean, I guess to ask should is kind of begging the question, like some people feel that you should and some people feel that you shouldn't. I think, you know, I was watching an interview with him a couple days ago, and he was talking about he said to be an artist is to be dysfunctional, because he was being interviewed by somebody and he was like, oh yeah, like I'm dysfunctional. He's like, I love making music. He's all, but I'll tell you right now, a lot of the times it's not fun to make. He's like, I enjoy it, but I can't, if I'm gonna sit here and be honest, I can't say that it's a process that makes me feel good every time. He's like, a lot of times I just don't feel good making it, you know, but he's like, but I can't help it. And so he said, you know, to be an artist is to be dysfunctional. So maybe he's just, and I think anyone you ask at the end of their life might just feel guilty. I feel like we're always going to feel guilty for something, but maybe this album was his way of being content with having that guilt, you know, and kind of letting go, I'm sure, at the very last breath. But I mean, I think
maybe like him admitting that he felt guilty and
he's still human at the end of the day,
helped him feel better and helped him, you know, maybe that's why he was able to die so recently after the release.
Yeah,
like he finally felt like he could let go.
Yeah, I think that's a solid point. I mean, it sounds very accurate. Like, you know, maybe he did feel guilty. Like I said, he can't give everything away. Somebody as him who didn't believe in the philosophy of like hyper commercialization, and somebody who didn't believe in making tons of money and trying to live famous, you know, because he's one of the most famous artists of all time, like up there with Mozart and Michelangelo, and you can go way back in history. He's way up there. And I think being at that level and wishing and seeing how much of like magnitude as far as like how big of a personality you have in the world, and seeing that you still can't give everything away because there's a lot of people. I think for him, maybe he was contemplating with the tragedy of being at the end of your life and realizing that after this, everything you own doesn't matter to you because you're not going to be here, and still not being able to give everything away regardless because of legal or just the fact that it's unrealistic to give everything away no matter how big or important you are. Like you still can't it takes a collective effort, you know, like it can't be all on the shoulders of one person.
Yeah,
at least that's what I think 100%. He was going for. Like, you know, it's just tough to be someone so great and have such a kind heart and still not be able to fix everything like that, you know, like you wish you could. You know, I wish I could, being 20 years old and people barely knowing me, and I still wish I have the same feelings as him. Like I wish. So I can't even fathom like having that much power and still feeling like, man, I've helped a lot of people, but I'm still not changing the world in a split second. You know, it's probably really tough.
It's gonna take the world to change the world.
Exactly. It's a collective effort. But music like this does contribute. It contributes immensely. I mean, look at how much we've thought about here, sitting here these last 2 episodes, just thinking about like what he was really going for. I think to me this album can be considered a perfect album in the context of what it was. I mean, I can't think of anyone else that did something like this and executed it so well, given the context of what it's about and how he did it. You know, think about that.
Yeah, man. No, this album really, for me in my playlist, this album is the one that has the most meaning. You know, without a doubt.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even like, I'm an artist. I consider myself an artist. I even struggle to do art when I don't feel good, when I wake up late. I mean, I can't even imagine like dying and still being able to make art. And I love art. Art's my passion. Like, I'll die making art. But I can't even like fathom like how much energy and strength it takes to make something as you're dying. That's crazy.
Oh my God. And like
18 months he was dying.
From cancer. From cancer at 6, like he was 69 years old, which isn't like, it's just still,
it's not young, but yeah, it's still pretty young.
No, to pass away though,
away, like 69 years old. Yeah, you got like another 10, 20 years.
Yeah, man, people are living till the 90s now.
Yeah, like Ringo Starr and Paul McCartney, they're still what, almost 80s now.
Yeah, and like so, and cancer, dude. Like, my grandma passed away with cancer. Like, rest in peace. But and like I remember when she was dying, like there was no way she would have been able to freaking produce a whole album. Like, what?
Yeah, I know.
Like, what?
It's crazy.
That's like, dude, like she was so weak and fragile, and you know what I mean? Like, and she was tough, dude. That lady was so tough her whole life. Like, man, she was tough as nails. But like, I don't know, dude. When she was fighting cancer, like it took a lot of her strength, man. And I don't know, for Bowie to still be able to do this, that's just insane.
Yeah, dude. I mean, oh my God, it's just like to suffer 18 months dying and be able to crank out a fully produced album without anyone knowing other than your wife. I mean, how did nobody know that he was dying of cancer? That takes a lot of talent, dude. Keep your mouth shut that you're dying. I mean, oh my God.
Probably the people he cared about knew, you know what I mean, like his family, besides his wife. Obviously his wife knew, but like
maybe his son.
I'm assuming his closest family and friends, you know.
I wonder if he didn't tell people because he knows that people can get a little superficial or a little irrational when people are dying. Like, now they want to spend too much time with you. It doesn't feel natural, you know. Maybe he didn't want them to feel like they had to be there with him.
I think he wanted peace. I think he would have been just engulfed by media, fucking constantly around him.
Oh yeah, dude.
If he was dying, and I think he wanted to die in peace.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think giving people the respect of like not letting them know that he's dying, you know, kind of makes them not have to live life with that weight.
Why does he have to? Why does he have to tell him? He's like, he doesn't have to tell him shit.
Exactly, yeah, because it's his life.
You know?
Exactly. At the end of the day, he's still a person.
Exactly, dude. If he wants to die in peace, he has every right to fucking not have the media swarming him, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I agree 100%, man. 100%. What a great album. What a phenomenal person. Rest in peace to David Bowie. So much respect for this artist. He's one of the three artists in my holy trinity of artists.
I'm really glad we chose this album.
Yeah, this was an amazing album to dissect and spark conversation about for 2 hours, because last episode was about an hour as well. So 2 hours of just talking about life and death. It's really therapeutic. Huge fan of Bowie, man. He's contributed so much to the world, musically, culturally. I mean, I don't put anyone up on his level other than Bjork. She's still around, so thank God for that. But yeah, I mean, what a great album. Sorry for everyone listening. Sorry to end on such a sad note.
Sad note, right? I mean, what a downer of an episode.
Yeah, but take it with a grain of salt, everybody. I mean, it's good to sit with your emotions. Don't be scared of your emotions. Sit with them like we did for an hour, which is hard to do for anybody. You know, be comfortable in be vulnerable, man. But with that being said, we will be wrapping up next episode. What are we going to be doing next episode? Why don't you tell them, Caesar? Let them know.
Next episode, we're going to be diving into a little bit of punk, whether it's another album breakdown or we go ahead and talk about the top, bands when it was coming out, a little bit of history. Stay tuned. You can go ahead and stay up to speed on our Instagram, Tour of Music 104. That's where we're going to go ahead and post the link. We also have our YouTube up, Tour of Music 104 as well.
Yep. So that wraps it up for today's episode. We hope everybody takes this and just sits with themselves and be kind to yourself. Tough times right now. Let this album be a reminder that though death will come, life has a lot in store for you, and you can still do stuff no matter how tired you think you are. You can do it. David Bowie can make an album while dying. You can do anything. Pretty much.
Right? Just like look at what he did.
It's inspiring.
Man. Yeah,
this album's inspiring.
If you really want to do something, man,
do it.
Put your mind to it, and you could do it. Yeah.
Be the Blackstar. Be the Blackstar. Give everything, and don't let anyone look into your. Be you and just
whatever
be yourself.
You need, right? Just let it engulf you, dude. Yeah. Let it completely take over. Whatever your passion is.
Be the Blackstar that David Bowie was to you. With that being said, we will see you guys next episode for Punk Talk. We'll get a lot more heavy and a lot less emotional.
Definitely.
Thank you guys for listening. We will catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.